talking technique number 4 today. So 4th episode, and we're talking technique of the right hand. There are many ways of tone production with the right hand. Pick playing, tapping, slapping, popping, thumb muting, and a variety of ways to pluck the strings. Some folks use 3 or 4 fingers to pluck the strings with the right hand. I want to be talking about the 2-finger pluck, which gets you through most band playing situations. I recommend to make that an automated process of alternating the index and the middle finger. Sometimes what happens in the beginning when we start to learn is that we have this sort of synchronous dance between the left hand and the right hand. So if I play a pattern, for example, a pentatonic scale that has 2 notes per string, then I'm playing 2 notes in my right hand and 2 notes in my left, and there is this sort of coupling of the right hand and the left hand. That's nice and well as long as I have 2 notes per string, but if I have 3 notes per string, for example, like in a major scale, then I have to always make a decision, how am I gonna, navigate this if I want to stay sort of synchronous with my left hand. So what oftentimes happens is that folks do index and middle, right? I am index, I am I, and then again do I am I am I. And I recommend against that, because if you run into more complex patterns or melodies or fast little riffs or something, then you always have to make a decision, which finger am I going to use? And that takes away from the creative flow. It takes away from, it's a micro timing issue. So if you decouple your right hand from your left and you are just always alternating and there is no question about it, then I believe that's an advantage. Now I'm going to show you a quick test, because sometimes you might think that you're actually alternating, but maybe you aren't. So here's an invitation to put that under the microscope. Here's a good test. Play, let's say, a G major scale from the top down, and I'm playing it from the highest note that I can execute in this position, and that would be the C. So what I'm about to play is this. Right? So C, B, A, G, F sharp, E, D, C, B, A, G, F sharp. It's basically a G major scale starting on the C above the octave. And do that, and then observe what your right hand does. If you're really alternating, then you will always have a different finger starting on the next string down. So let's say, for example, you start with your middle finger, so it would be M, I, M, I, right? Or if you start with the index in I, M, right? So you're always alternating whenever you switch to a new string. Sometimes what happens is that people do what's called raking. They go like this. M, I, M, M, I, M, M, I, M, M, I, M. Now, raking is a technique that is a very cool technique, and I'll probably do an episode on it later, because there are lots of applications for it. But it's a different thing because it's a certain sound, and it's a certain thing that I want to practice separately. But I don't want it to be something that just happens and I have no knowledge of it and no control of it. So I recommend to all my students to go through a phase where they really diligently try to clean up their right hand to be not dependent on what the left hand does. And here are some exercises for that. Very, very simple to start. We're going to do 2 notes per string going up, 2 notes per string going down, and make sure we always alternate. So that's I, M, I, M, I, M, I, M, right? From the top down, I, M, I, M, I, M, I, M. And you might notice I'm muting either with my left hand or with my right hand. But if you want to let it ring just for the sake of the exercise, that's fine too. Right? So now that you've done that, play a pentatonic scale with your left hand. There are 2 notes per string, so it's an interesting exercise. Now let's start it with the index finger. I am, I am, I am, I am. Going down. I am, I am, I am, I am. Now let's do the same scale and start it on the middle finger. M, I am, I am, I am, I am, I am, I am, I am. So it feels different. Observe what that feels like in your hand when you start once with the finger where you would be, mirroring the movement, or where you're going parallel with the movement. All right, now we're going to do 3. So every time you do an odd number, it's going to feel different because you're going to be starting with a different finger every time you switch strings. So here we go. I am, I am, I am, I am, I am, I am. Okay, and back down. I am, I am, I am, I am, I am, I am. You can also just say the first note if you want to up the tempo. So just say the first note. M, I, am, I am, I. The next step with that is to play a scale. For example, the G major scale all the way up to the C. I like picking that one because it's a way to play a scale where you have 3 notes per string. So I am, and back down. I am, I am. And then started with the other finger. M, I, am, I. M, I, am, I. And again, observe what happens with your left and your right, how that feels like. To get a little deeper in your right hand finger practice, you can also do things like playing a pentatonic scale and doubling up the notes. And then you can triple the notes. By the way, you can also do these exercises over 2 strings, 3 notes or 2 notes. Come up with different variations of how you do that. Today's tip. I recommend that you keep your right hand fingers rounded. Don't kink your right hand fingers. It puts a lot of strain on your hand down here. And it also makes it so that the tone control stops at that kink. So the energy can't flow all the way into the note. And it stops right there. So you want to keep your fingers round all the way into the string. So this, not this. And this, not this. Keep them rounded. And when you do these exercises, that might be a good opportunity to sort of give that some attention too. Am I keeping them round or am I kinking my fingers? That's it for today. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know in the comments how it's working for you and what results you're getting. All right, talk to you next time.